Tonight, 2 men missing in waters off Port Lincoln for nearly a week, found alive and well. And Port Pirie's blessing of the fleet defies coronavirus.
From our 7 Spencer Gulf studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. 2 fishermen who went missing near Port Lincoln nearly a week ago have been found alive off South Australia's south coast. The pair were towed back to safety this morning before an emotional reunion with loved ones. Nathan Regter has more.
This is history being made. Not even 24 hours ago, Derek Robinson was feared dead. Now, incredibly, he's on dry land and with his loved ones. Into the arms of family, the father of 2 reuniting after an extremely distressing ordeal.
I knew I'd see him again, but I just didn't know when.
After more than 5 days stranded at sea, the pair, which had been making national headlines, made contact with authorities at around 11 last night. Chillingly, the search had been called off just 4 hours earlier.
No, there's no signal out there, there's no service. There should be service out there, you'd think.
Today's reunion, emotional. Derek's beloved son never giving up hope his father was still alive.
I haven't been able to stop crying for 2 days. I've been devastated. Just trying to stay positive about the whole situation.
On board the Magrel, the pair reported finally that they were near Salt Creek. Shocked rescue crews rushing to the scene to tow them back to safety off Victor Harbour.
No, we knew where we were, but it was just the tides, the currents, just threw us off a bit.
They'd set off from Coffin Bay last Thursday on board the 30-foot wooden fishing boat Mr Higgins had just bought. They reported engine trouble last Friday and had planned to divert to Kangaroo Island, but never showed up, sparking a full-scale air and sea emergency.
The anxiety and the pain that you go through, I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. You know, it's just been overwhelming to even think about it, everything that goes through your head.
More than 100,000 kilometres of unforgiving ocean was searched in treacherous conditions. Authorities feared they'd never be found.
It was just rough, it was rocky. I don't think I felt scared, I felt just isolated.
It's South Australia's largest search, with an outcome rescuers and loved ones had hoped for but didn't ever expect.
Over the moon, you know, couldn't ask for a better feeling. You know, it's the last few days being stressed out, and then to hear the news, it's a godsend, you know, it's a miracle.
Everybody that I care about sits right here, and I was holding on to this the whole time, and thoughts are going through my head, my family.
No doubt the pair will stay on safe, dry land close to family for the foreseeable future. Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The Far West Health District has praised residents from across the region for their continued vigilance towards coronavirus. Despite not seeing an active case in 5 months, authorities say testing numbers in the district are still rising.
More than 150 days since the region's last COVID-19 case, Far West residents are still playing it safe.
We've had just under 5,700 tests overall, and just under 130,000 screenings across the region.
Testing and screening numbers across the entire district have increased over the last 7 days. 93,000 screenings have been conducted in Broken Hill alone since the pandemic started. The Far West Health District saying physical distancing, good hand hygiene and locals getting tested when showing symptoms is good to see.
I know it's difficult to maintain that regime when we haven't had a positive case for 6 months. And the reason why we haven't had one is precisely because of the fact that actually we have those measures in place.
Safety measures at the region's health centres and hospitals remain in place. All visitors are required to wear masks, even those who have appointments. Visiting hours are from 10 to 12 and from 5 till 7.
I do thank the community for their understanding. You know, it is there for a reason, really, and that reason is to protect both their loved ones and also general community.
Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The head of the South Australian Tourism Commission has visited the Mid-North to consult with local councils and business operators. He's predicting a surge in visitors to regional areas as residents opt to holiday locally.
A roundtable talk discussing the future of tourism in the regions.
It's really about listening to everybody, embracing. There's 15 of these roundtable sessions right across our state.
I think South Australia regional communities thrive in part because of tourism.
The Tourism Commission visiting Port Augusta and Port Pirie last night, now the Clare Valley this morning. They say tourism dollars are imperative to keep small towns afloat.
You know, when you think 44 cents in every tourism dollar is earned in the regions, that means there are businesses in every region that attract visitors.
Local councils and tourism operators providing feedback on the issues.
What will drive consumers to visit the region? But importantly then, how do we deliver on those expectations? What type of infrastructure is needed?
It's been a challenging year, but the Commission is predicting a surge in visitors to the Spencer Gulf, Mid-North and Yorke Peninsula as the weather warms up.
Go overseas each year. They spend about $3.3 billion going overseas. We're trying to redirect some of that expenditure to getting out and about in South Australia.
Holidaymakers are advised to plan ahead.
If you want to get away for the school holidays or for Christmas, you need to book now because South Australians are planning ahead.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Still to come tonight, Whyalla prepares to pause in remembrance for those who've taken their own life. And the Blessing of the Fleet prepares to set sail. Welcome back. A man has been arrested after stealing a car in Port Augusta in the early hours of Tuesday morning. A Mitsubishi four-wheel drive was allegedly taken from a drive-through bottle shop, with the car later found on the Stuart Highway. Crime scene investigators examined the vehicle that was doused in diesel fuel, with police saying they believe there was an attempt to destroy the car. The 29-year-old man from the state's far north was charged with a string of offences. He was refused bail and has been remanded in custody. Sunday's Roses by the Ocean event in Whyalla is set to be one of the biggest, with event organisers busy preparing for the day. In its 4th year, it's a chance for locals to remember loved ones they've lost to suicide.
For Whyalla local Jeanette Cowan, it's an event which touches her heart.
This day is obviously very important to me, losing my son 17 years ago to suicide.
Whyalla's Suicide Prevention Network and Community Manus Yarning Circle joining forces this year.
We're encouraging people to come down to the foreshore, collect a rose and lay their rose in the ocean.
Roses are a symbol of remembrance for loved ones in the community who were lost to suicide. The team also giving out free coffee cards to encourage locals to start the tough conversation.
Because we know in times like these we're prompted to reflect on those that we have lost. So that type of informal support can be integral.
The Indigenous Yarning Group designing messages of hope stickers that will run along the foreshore.
We've got the Sorry Day flower and Larisha, our resident artist. She designed these wonderful stickers.
Centre Care and Headspace trained professionals will offer training on the day.
It's about 60 minutes to do. It can be accessed via the Country SA PHM website. And it teaches people how to recognise and respond.
Staff encourage locals to register online. If you or someone you know needs help, call Lifeline on 13 11 14. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Port Augusta's Salvation Army today hosted an Are You OK Day event, providing hot soup, coffee and desserts for those who stop by for lunch. The event aimed to start conversations, which is this year's theme.
Asking that question, and I think, the theme this year is about what comes after the question. So, not just stopping there, but hanging in there with somebody and, talking things through.
They encourage community members to continue to constantly check in with friends and family. Port Pirie's Italian community are preparing to host its annual Blessing of the Fleet parade this Sunday. In its 91st year, this one will be extra special, as it's the only blessing in the world that will happen this year.
It's an event steeped in tradition. Port Pirie's Italian community coming together each year to bless the city's fishing fleet.
We do a procession with the Madonna from the High Mass of Cathedral down to the boat ramp, as we do each year.
It has been instilled into me and to a number of us who are 2nd and 3rd generation Italians.
Organisers are working around the clock to make sure everything is ready, with some changes in place.
We normally come down to the boat ramp straight after that and have some lunch, but this year we're not going to do that.
Coronavirus unable to stop the event, with this year holding a special significance.
That all those other 8 normal Blessing of the Fleets are not going ahead because of COVID. So Port Pirie is the only one in the world.
Trying our best to live stream this on our Facebook page so that anyone worldwide with a Molfettese origin who wants to be part of it can share in our parade.
Sunday morning High Mass at St Mark's Cathedral will start the celebrations before the parade in the afternoon.
Come back to the cathedral at 1:45, and so that we can start the procession down to the boat ramp and then return back to the cathedral after that.
Shari Hams, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us while a food bank receives a generous donation and the Ride to Remember event passes through Port Augusta. A donation of $2,000 has been given to Wireless Food Bank by a local Rotary Club. The money is set to help the organisation support local families struggling through the COVID-19 pandemic.
It's all smiles for the Waialanori Rotary Club, handing over a significant cheque to a good cause.
Donated $2,000 to Food Bank of Whyalla and asked for it to be kept locally because times are hard for people in Whyalla at present.
The money will support Whyalla Food Bank, which provides 100,000 meals for families in need each year. This cheque supplying 4,000 of them.
There's people around our community that are doing it very tough, tougher than probably some of us. So it's good to be able to support them.
The club's oldest member of 40 years says it's the generosity of locals which keeps him going.
It's been fun over the years, you know, just getting out, meeting people, I enjoy it.
The club also supports other organisations throughout the year. They've recently sent 2 children with special needs to the Adelaide Zoo's Christmas party, as well as sending young locals to Rhoderack. The team encourages locals to continue showing their support, running a fundraising barbecue every 2 weeks at Supercheap Auto.
We'd like to thank the people of Whyalla for supporting us on that day. It's always sad day.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
More than 100 current and retired police officers have taken to the roads for the Ride for Remembrance. In its 10th year, this year's fundraiser is a little different, with the journey taking participants through regional South Australia.
With the turn of a key, day 3 of this event got underway. South Australian Police have been involved in the Ride for Remembrance for a decade, raising money for the police legacy.
The whole purpose of it is to raise funds for the families of police officers that have been killed. Most of the riders are retired or current serving police officers and people that support police.
Officers say the ride is an experience to appreciate.
This is a dream come true for me, really. This is spending time with our mates, which we don't get a chance to do much of. We tend to work a lot together. We tend to work a lot with other people.
It's pretty important to us, and as we ride around, I guess we reflect on that we're doing it for a good cause.
Each year, the Ride for Remembrance has raised $10,000, and this year they're hoping for no different.
So over the 10 years, as Pete's already said, we've raised just over $75,000, pretty close to $80,000. And this year, another $10,000 on top of that. So we're getting close to the $100,000. That's next year's goal.
The event usually sees hundreds of bikes from around the nation headed to Canberra. However, COVID restrictions have turned it into an interstate cruise.
Well, we started in Adelaide and then we went to Wallaroo. Here last night, off to Barmah in the Riverland tonight, then down to the Southeast Robe tomorrow. And we'll finish off in Adelaide on Saturday, where we'll have a dinner at the police club.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
A mental health campaign in Broken Hill is taking a colourful approach to this serious subject. Locals being encouraged to start talking to each other by writing supportive messages with chalk.
Breaking down the stigma that comes when talking about mental health.
Coinciding with World Suicide Prevention Day,
Nimai National Broken Hill is encouraging people to come on board and write messages of hope.
Let's Chalk About Mental Health is an annual suicide prevention and awareness campaign running until October. The concept is to be creative using chalk, writing words of support and hope.
8 people die of suicide every day in Australia. What we're trying to encourage is to have those really difficult conversations about suicide and mental health and mental illness.
Participants then take a photo and upload it to social media with the hashtag Let's Chalk About Mental Health.
Having suicidal thoughts, don't look for the rope. Exchange your future with love, joy, happiness and hope.
Organisers say around 1 in 5 people aged between 16 and 85 will experience mental illness in their lifetime.
If you just notice something, out of the ordinary of anybody, or one of your teammates, etc., ask. Hey, how you going? Are you okay? It's as simple as that.
If you or anyone you know needs help, contact Lifeline on 13 11 14. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. We'll check what's biting in Spencer Gulf. And Alex Sykes will have the latest weather forecast. Hello again. Time for a look at what fish are biting in the Spencer Gulf this weekend. Here's our experts with their tips.
G'day and welcome to this week's Fish Tips from Port Augusta, Jewel of the North. Well, there's a couple of really good days coming up, but as you've seen, it was blowing its guts out earlier in the week, so I'll be trying for silver whiting up on top of the banks around the Flinders Channel and also down on the front of the shacks on the high tides as well. Blue crabs are starting to get on the bite, so not have to work just as hard for them, but what there are, they're also big and full of meat as well. Squid are still there, but you're really having to fight for those. King George whiting around the base of the Flinders Channel, and also some salmon up around Chinaman's Creek and also Port Patterson as well. That's all we have from the Jewel of the North.
What we've been talking to you over the last couple of weeks in regards to the last touch of King George whiting, that is absolutely happening. I've seen some guys with big bag limits and big fish at that particular time. Second, third creek, you'll find some fish there, top into Ward Spit, Eastern Shoal, Woods Point, all around the place at the moment. It's probably getting close to our last chance to grab some. Now we're also looking at snook. We've been telling you about that for the last couple of weeks. That's all we've got this week. We'll see you next week.
Turning to finance now, and the market recovered a fraction of yesterday's losses. Santos and Adelaide Brighton both jumped by more than 1%. Wesfarmers, BHP and Elders also marginally up. However, Iron Road was down by the end of trade. And the ASX 200 and All Ords were both in the green, the two markets up by 0.5%. Weather time now, and we're expecting a fine and sunny day tomorrow, but showers are on the way. Here's Alex with all the details.
Thanks, John. It was mostly sunny today. Port Augusta reached a max of 29, Port Lincoln 19, Port Pirie 28. Woodner reached a high of 30 degrees today, Kadina 29, Whyalla 25, Adelaide 24, Broken Hill a max of 23. Looking at today's satellite images, we can see cloud over southern parts of South Australia associated with a cold front causing strong dry winds, elevated fire danger and virtually no rain. Skies remained otherwise clear across the state due to high pressure and an air mass. Moving on to tomorrow, and we'll start with the Gulf waters. Easterly winds at 10 to 15 knots, seas around 1 metre with south to southwesterly swells reaching 1 metre in southern waters. It'll be a partly cloudy day at Port Lincoln tomorrow with a top of 23 degrees, Cleve mostly sunny and 31, Woodner mostly sunny and 34. Sunny in Whyalla with a top of 30 degrees, Port Augusta sunny tomorrow with a max of 32, Kadina mostly sunny and 27. Port Pirie sunny tomorrow with a top of 29, Clare mostly sunny and 25, Broken Hill also with a top of 25 degrees, looking sunny tomorrow. Taking a look at Saturday, rain forecast about the west coast and lower Eyre Peninsula, showers expected about the eastern Eyre Peninsula, mid-north and York Peninsula, as well as in Adelaide. Partly cloudy to the north with sunny conditions at Broken Hill, Port Augusta 32, Whyalla 26, Kadina 23, Port Lincoln 17. Sunday, cloudy conditions for Broken Hill, fine and partly cloudy across the Spencer Gulf region, maximums in the late teens and early 20s, Port Augusta and Woodner 21, Port Pirie 19, Port Lincoln 17. And finally, Monday, mostly sunny with similar temperatures to Sunday. Broken Hill 21, Whyalla 19, Kadina and Port Lincoln 18. So John, we've got some warm days ahead before a cool change on the weekend. Back to you.
Thanks, Alex. And that's the local news this Thursday evening. Thanks for your company. I'll have updates later, and we'll be back tomorrow night at 6:30 p.m. Until then, on behalf of the team, enjoy your evening. Good night.